Hey guys, I am just here to answer some questions that were asked in our little Q&A post on Thursday, and we didn't have a whole lot, but I'm going to pull from both groups. So we actually have two groups going on because there's a max amount of participants in each group for the app. So I'm going to pull. I have some questions from each group, and then I have some other questions from like private messages and text messages that I thought would be helpful to answer on here as well. So I'm going to try to bust these out really quick. Okay, so the first question was from Eileen, which was, what are my kids' favorite 21 Day Fix approved meals? And so this one's a little tricky for me because they like them all. So my kids are pretty not picky. Kaylee, you might be able to add to this one. She's got, more like picky eaters or allergy kind of issues with what she does. But for me personally, I don't make two meals. I just make the same meals. My kids just eat them most of the time. So I would say the 21 Day Fix meals they're not that much different than normal meals. It's just about portions and what you're getting in. To being more conscientious of how many vegetables we're getting in. So that's something I just make sure that, like, if we're really lacking, then I'll just throw some frozen green beans, like the Steam Fresh, in the mic or broccoli, and they'll eat them. I just make sure that they're friendly for the kids like to eat. So I'd say probably some of their favorites are probably the chicken quesadillas. They love that. And then we'll do like a dollop of Greek yogurt on the side. Most of you have gotten the 3-week meal plan from us, which is it didn't come with 21 Day Fix. It's just something that our team developed as like a helpful tool, a bonus item. And the meals on there are so simple and delicious. So they're really not that different than normal meals. It's just that they're better for you and they're better ingredients, and the portions are exactly what you need for the container system. So probably their favorite things are desserts and breakfast items like pancakes and stuff like that. So anytime that there's like a clean recipe or paleo or from the Fix8 cookbook, and you can just look on Pinterest too. There's just so many fun things to try. So, and then another question that kind of goes along with this is about containers and the strictness of it. And so I want to address that really quickly. When you're doing this program, if you're really going hard, and sticking to it for at least 21 days or 60 days or whatever, you need to make sure that you're not only getting your amount of containers in, eating enough, make sure you're eating all of your containers, but that you're also sticking to the lists in your book of what you can put in those containers. Because sometimes I see people who maybe aren't getting the results that they want, but they're thinking like, oh, if it's a carb, it's a yellow. You can't just count any kind of carb as a yellow. So what I mean is there's a huge difference between a piece of bleached floured white bread and a whole grain, like oats, super, dense nutrition bread. Huge difference. So you have to still be following those lists, because there are some things that are just not 21 Day Fix approved at all. A lot of pastas are not approved, different types. So you have to be careful, trying to get maybe gluten-free or a whole grain, things like that. And so making sure that you're still familiar with the list and trying to stick to that as much as possible. Now, when you're out to eat, when you're at a friend's house, when it's not something that you can control, we don't want you to just throw it all away and say, I failed. We want you to still count it as a container. And so that's where that comes in, where we'll say things like, save your yellows, because you're going to be going to this and you're going to have a couple things you're not supposed to have. But for the most part and the majority of the time, stick to that list of what is actually approved and what is actually things that you can eat. So you can't just eat, whatever that's in that category. It has to be clean still, and it has to be something that's, not processed or not has a bunch of added sugar or salt or things like that. So I had another question about quick tips you can do just to make it even better, to take it up a notch. And I wanted to suggest rinsing anything that you have canned, like beans, especially if you're vegetarian or vegan. You're going to be eating a lot of lentils and beans. Make sure you're rinsing those really thoroughly before you dump them. anytime I use canned anything, which I try to stay away from, but even if you are someone who uses canned fruit, which again, I would just get fresh fruit, but if for some reason you're using the canned pears or whatever, rinse it, because it's that syrup inside is just filled with sugar. So that's another quick tip. And then, okay, let's see. Eileen asked about my skin. She said, what do you do to keep your skin so whatever, flawless or something like that? And I think that's really funny because my skin's not flawless at all. It's truly just my Samsung phone. It just has a default setting for the selfie mode. So if I'm not in selfie mode and someone's taking a picture of me, my skin looks a lot worse than if I'm in selfie mode because there's a default beauty filter. So it's lovely. But other than that, I just use a natural bar of, like it's a natural ingredient bar of soap that's all natural, like ingredients, whatever, and water, and that's it. So also Shakeology has helped tremendously, but truly overall, I do not have great skin. Somebody asked me in a private message if we get paid to be coaches. And that was a good question. So yes, we do. We get paid by Beachbody to represent them. And truly what we do is just encourage you guys and put on these challenge groups and keep people motivated. And obviously like through using our tools of Beachbody's products. But we absolutely do get paid through Beachbody in lots of different ways. And I encourage you, if you are interested in that at all, challengers make the best coaches. And so I think even this Thursday, we have a sneak peek, a one-day sneak peek into what coaching is and what it entails and what it's not. So that's a great question. Let's see. What other questions do we have? Oh, there was a question about the app. So this is only our second month using the app. So, we haven't really quite, for those of us who are coaches or veteran challengers, we're not like, or sometimes we have a little bit harder time adjusting to change than someone who's just brand new into this. So it is, it's so much fun once you like get it, but just to help you out, you can set your notifications in the app and you can say what you want to see. So if you don't want to see every little comment or every post, every person's log, you can change that. Maybe you just want to see the coach posts or whatever, but every single day, the coach post of the day, like not my personal Shakeology logs, when I'm posting something like this, it's going to be pinned at the top for that day. And then the next day, there'll be another one. So you can still scroll through and see the past ones, but that way it's right there for the day. And so, another question I had was about the points system this time around because it's a little bit different. But just a reminder that you're going to be logging your Shakeology, you're logging your workout, and then you're logging a second Shakeology and taking a picture of one of your approved meals, one of your clean meals. And that is going to get you prizes and points and get you in the competition. And then we've been having, random questions and different